I'm John Rodgers from Cuyahoga Falls, and we're going to go out to Western Canada, to the provinces of Alberta and British Columbia. The pictures that you're going to see and what I tell you about come from a couple of different trips. One all the way back in 1971, and then a couple that we knew asked us to go on a 1981 tour with them. So you're going to see a part of all of them. The Canadian Rockies run right down this line. This is Waterton Lakes, this is Montana, and our Glacier National Park is here. This is Edmonton, the capital of Alberta. We're going to start here at Calgary, and we're going to go over into the Lake Louise. This is Banff. And this is called the Icefields Highway, and we're going up that. And then when we get about to this point, we will have left Banff National Park and we'll be in Jasper National Park. This is Jasper. When we leave the Canadian Rockies, we're going to come this way, and this is Kamloops, and then come on down to Vancouver here, and then Victoria. And I am saving to last a real spot right up above Victoria, which is the Butchart Gardens. So let's get going with a view of the Calvary Husky Tower. And we're going up in there because we were eating dinner, and as the restaurant revolved, it revolved every 55 minutes, and I would take pictures. You can see on the background a little of the Canadian Rockies. And as we go some more, another section of the Rockies. See, they're just to the west. I say just to the west, probably 50 miles away, but just to the west. And here's looking out onto the Great Plains. And yes, that is a storm out on the Great Plains. Now we're down in our bus going over towards the town of Banff, which is in Banff National Park. And those are the Canadian Rockies with snow on them. We're not quite in the town yet. You're still getting a little bit of the prairies. There's not much in the way of foothills here as we approach the Canadian Rockies. You have prairies and then you have mountains, and nothing too much in between there. But it's a beautiful sight as you make your way over. And this is the little town of Banff. Now, their national parks and the U.S. national parks are quite different. We do not have towns within our national parks, and they do. It's a more open policy, and it's up to you which one you like. Was able on a previous trip to just stick my camera out of the window and take a picture of this deer looking at us. It's a lot of wildlife up through here. We are now at the Banff Springs Hotel, looking down at the river there and over to the Canadian Rockies. This is one of those ones that was built by the railroads years ago, and fairly exclusive type of thing now. And we're going up on Sulphur Mountain, up a gondola lift in just a moment, but one last one of the view from the hotel. They had to do an awful lot of work to bring these old hotels, this one especially, Banff Springs, up to the regulations, because the electricity especially was really outmoded back from the old early days. But isn't that a magnificent structure to be out here in the wilderness, so to speak? And every once in a while they have different things going on, and this young lady played the bagpipe. Quite good too. Of course, you have to like bagpipe music, you understand. And now I mentioned that we were going up on Sulphur Mountain, and these are the gondolas that we go up in. we left from a building right down here, and we're coming up to the top. It might scare some people, but it really isn't dangerous. The safety record is just absolutely amazing. But here is the view you get from up on there. Just terrific. And there's all sorts of things going on. See, this is the whole little town of Banff down below. And this southern part of the Canadian Rockies just sort of unfolds before you. I'm showing you pictures from 2 different trips. And that's why some of them have snow on the mountain and some of them have just a little bit of snow. And that is the Banff Springs Hotel from way up on Sulphur Mountain. You golfers in the audience, this is a golf course. And then we have some Rocky Mountain bighorns. Look at the curl on that guy's horns. And here he is a little closer. He just stood there. I did not even have to use a telephoto lens. He just got close enough, or I got close enough, and he didn't move. And here is a Columbian ground squirrel, and you see a lot of these fellows going back and forth. This is the one that people would feed peanuts probably or something of that. They're not supposed to, but they'd feed them anyhow. Now this is that same river that was going by the town of Banff. That's my wife in the picture there. And here's that same waterfall. It's a real nice and impressive waterfall. And then these formations down here in Canada, well, I guess the United States also, they call these hoodoos, H-O-O-D-O-O. Now, these are impressive if you have never seen the ones in Bryce Canyon down in Utah. But these are pretty nice anyhow, and situated as they are right alongside the river makes them pretty nice. So we're still in Banff National Park. And the Trans-Canada Highway runs right through here, going from Newfoundland all the way over to Victoria. And the gardens there right around the center of the little town of Banff. Good place for a picnic. And we're heading heading a little to the west now. We have to go west to a place called Lake Louise Junction before you can go up on the Icefields Highway. But of course we'll go into Lake Louise also. And this is Mount Eisenhower with the clouds hanging down over the top, and that is fresh fallen snow. These pictures are all taken in late June and early July. Really, really they're quite nice. 2 different trips. And here's how some of the water runs. There's a little stream right down in here, and it cuts and cuts and cuts through this sedimentary rock. And here's where it's pitching over as a waterfall. We're in Kootenai National Park now. We have just dropped down a little bit. I wanted just to show the canyon and the waterfall, and I wanted to show the results of a forest fire from years before. The timber's still standing. This is the same thing that happened down in Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming. I think it was 1988. And then I did have a picture of a bear here, and so that was kind of neat. And she had a couple of little cubs. This is a black bear. This is not a grizzly. She is not a black color, but she is nevertheless called the black bear. Now we're making our way towards Lake Louise, but we're going in, and we have gone into Moran Lake. This is the Valley of the 10 Peaks. That is an active glacier coming over the mountain. And I don't know if you can count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I get it's called Valley of 10 Peaks, and they're all pretty high. And right nestled in front of them is Moran Lake. Moran is the word that is how a glacier advances and leaves the rock on both sides of it, and then the terminal moran is when the glacier finally stops. That's the way it got its name, because this little lake was carved by a glacier. And this is nice sandy stuff right in front of it. We are not very far from Lake Louise, just less than an hour away. So there are a number of real beauty spots very close together. That's one of the 10 peaks. Now we have gone over to Lake Louise. I am standing on the front of Chateau Lake Louise, looking at the lake itself. And this is the Victoria Glacier down here. Now I'm out so that you can get an idea what Chateau Lake Louise looks like. Now you got to understand these chateaus and that Banff Springs Hotel, these are kind of expensive. You may just want to eat there one meal, make it lunch, and you can get by without too much. But this is right in front of it. Standing right at the edge, right up in here is the Victoria Glacier. This is considered one of the beauty spots in North America. Now I've gone on a hike. I'm by myself. I've gone up. I was going to stop at a little tea room, but it was closed for the day. But anyhow, this is the view that I got looking down, and there's Chateau Lake Louise down there. And here's a little pond as I'm making my way down. The color there, the teal color, is a true color, and it is caused by the grinding of the glacier on rock. And it grinds some of the rock into a texture about like talcum powder. And that suspends itself in the water, and when the sun's rays hit it, it comes out like this. Some of it is dark, comes out darker than that, but that's a true color. I'll show you Pito Lake in a little bit, and that will have a slightly different color. Now, this is not a wonderful picture until I tell you what it is. This is the sanitary landfill for Chateau Lake Louise, and follow the red dot here, 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 there, one there, and one over here. Those are all grizzly bears, big ones. And we are right on the edge of our car, ready to open the door and get in, because these things can travel very fast. A grizzly bear, a full-size grizzly bear, can go about 35 miles an hour, and you want to be protected. Now here's one. This is the mother. These are twilight pictures. This is the mother, and she has 2 cubs. And a couple of those males came over, and she swatted them. She ran them off. They weren't going to fool with her cubs. But that was sort of a joy to see that. And then we moved on over. Now I'm on the Trans-Canada Highway before we go up the Icefields Highway. And this is where they use tunnels for the trains to go back and forth at a decent grade and gradually go over the pass to go on out west. So you can sit there and see the same train going in a couple of tunnels. And this is Rodgers Pass, but they don't spell it with a D. This is R-O-G-E-R-S. And those are the Selkirk Mountains in the background. And this is where the dedication was held for the Trans-Canada Highway. Now we're going into Yoho National Park here, and it's sort of a natural bridge there as the water boils its way through. Very, very active water area. And now we're at Emerald Lake, and we stayed in a cottage on the shore of Emerald Lake when we were by ourselves. And it's a beauty too. It's a real nice one. Here's one of the little old Colombian ground squirrels. I have to look at them close because another 100 miles north and you'd probably be an Arctic ground squirrel. And this is the Steller's jay. This is what we normally call the western blue jay, or Steller's. And here's where an avalanche came down the side of the mountain, treating these huge trees as though they were matchsticks. And this old boy is getting his full out of a garbage can right by a campsite. And on in, one of the key things in Yoho National Park is Takaka Falls. Takaka Falls. It's about 1,200 feet high, and the words in Cree mean it is wonderful. From about up in where it starts down to the bottom, about 1,200 feet. These pictures on Takaka Falls are from 2 different times being there. And then we are making our way back out now. That thing that you see in the background, that mountain, that's called the Glacial Horn. It has stood its ground while glaciers were on all sides of it back during the glacial age, and it held. so it has the name of Glacial Horn. Now, as we're going down, our bus had to actually do some backing and going forward in order to make the switchbacks to get back down on that road. You can see we're up on here. So a car has no trouble, a bus, you better have a good driver. And here's where the Kicking Horse and Yoho Rivers meet. You can see the falls coming down into this river. And now we're on our way up the Icefields Highway, and we're going to see several lakes as we go up. The little one that you can see there is Hector Lake. This one is Bowl, and that is a glacier coming over the mountain. See, behind the ridge of mountains to our west is the whole Columbia ice fields. And here's a glacier coming down. That is Crowfoot Glacier, and it's coming down, and its melt will go into Bowl Lake, this lake. And this one is the Bowl Glacier. It's quite a thrill to be in your car driving along and be able, right from the comfort of your car, to see these great masses of ice coming over the mountains towards you. And they are spectacular. Some of the early flowers, they don't have much time here. This is very short growing season. This is a little willow here. And a beaver lodge, and here's the dam and the lodge behind it on the edge of one of those beautiful lakes. Now we have gone up on a high spot, and we're starting to see Peyto Lake. This is P-E-Y-T-O. This is the end of it here. This is the little stream that's coming down from a glacier to feed it. And here's how it stretches out in front of you. And the Icefields Highway goes along in this valley on up to Jasper. Peyto is one of the most beautiful lakes I've ever seen. It really is gorgeous. And at different times of the day, it has different colors, depending on how the rays of the sun are hitting it. And that's my dramatic picture of Peyto Lake. That one was taken quite a ways back in the 1970s. And as I said, right up through here is the Icefields Highway. But that's a magnificent lake. And this is the Waterfowl Lake. Still, all of these are accessible right from the Icefields Highway as you go on up. That's another view from a slightly different place of the Waterfowl Lakes. And now we have reached Jasper National Park. And just after you reach Jasper National Park, you can look to the west and you can see this glacier, and that's the Athabasca Glacier. And that's where you can get on a snowmobile. This costs you a little bit of money, but it's reasonable. And it will take you at least a couple of miles out on it. The place where you get on it is behind this moraine. It's right in here. And they take you out on it and take you, not up on top there, they take you more or less to the base there. And this is the toe of the glacier. This is the end of it, and that's what's known as the toe. Now, we're going to go out on the glacier. And you don't do this on your own. You have to be in a vehicle that has track on it, because the crevices in the glacier are very dangerous. You might drop down several hundred feet in a crack, and nobody will know you're there. And here are a couple of the vehicles going out on it, and they will go up into here and stop. Now we're on the glacier now. There's what some of the vehicles, this one holds quite a few, and we had a bus full, so we were on this one, and this holds a lesser number. Now they ask you, if you can, to get out and walk around on the ice, because they want to tell you that you are standing on 1,100 feet of ice. Today in North America, you can stand on that very simply. And here's what it looks like out there. My wife looks like she's freezing, but we're going to get back on the vehicle in just a minute, so it's not too bad. And here is one of the crevices. I can't tell. This one doesn't look like it's too deep, but boy, you don't want to go down in one of those things. Not only would the people not see you, it's hard to get you out when they do see you. Here's a glacier that is coming down onto the Athabasca Glacier. And we're looking forward. Here's one of the vehicles ahead of us, and right down in here is where I showed you the toe of the glacier. It is rugged country. Just to make it a little easier for the tourists so they don't get beat around too much, they have a road scraper that keeps this kind of halfway smooth. Never real smooth, but not too bad. And I am just looking out through one of the ports of the snowmobile that we were on and got this real neat picture. Now we're back out on the Icefields Highway, and here's the toe of the glacier here. And I wasn't able to show you before, but here is the meltwater, and that is a little terminal lake is what they normally call it. Here's some more. Here's another glacier coming down. That's really one of the neatest experiences I think from a nature standpoint that you can have here in North America. And remember, I told you June and July are when these pictures were taken. You don't want to get up into the Canadian Rockies too awfully early, because you're liable to get trapped in a snowfall. And I think we're about ready to leave the Athabasca Glacier, but you can tell I really think it's quite an experience. And we're going on up now towards Jasper. All this stuff was carved by glaciers, all the riverbeds and everything that we're seeing. By golly, I haven't left it yet, have I? And now we have reached Sunwapta Falls. S-U-N-W-A-P-T-A Falls, Sunwapta. And here's a little old bear with his mama. He's not perfectly in focus. It wasn't your eyes, it was my picture. We're up high now, so I can, on one part of the highway, and we will be going down, and you can see it making its way on north. And these are mountain goats. These are usually found at very high levels, but they like some of these banks that have salt or minerals in them, and so they come down to lick on those on that soil and get some of those minerals. These are the ones that can jump when they're up on those high peaks. They can jump from one to the other. They have very very neat feat, and make their way across those things like you wouldn't believe. I think I probably told you the wrong name for that other fall. This is Sunwapta Falls. How does that little pine, no, that's a spruce, how does that little spruce hang out there? It just cuts its way through that bedrock and keeps on going. And this is a bull elk. You see quite a few elk. Well, you can start seeing the elk down in Yellowstone National Park, and then on up in the Canadian Rockies, you see quite a few as you go through. But this is a real magnificent bull. Now we have gone up to Jasper, and our lodging for the night is out to the northeast, so that's where we're going now. And that's a moose. That's a bull moose. And this is our lodging. This is called the Overlander Lodge. It's just outside of the park. And the Overlanders, it got its name from this being the place where Overlanders, similar to our pioneers, stopped when they were heading west. And one of the things that they have is a forest behind there that is just loaded with lady slippers, the native orchid. That's the most I've ever seen in a picture that I was able to take at one time. Just a magnificent display back in there, and they had little trails to keep you away from, breaking them up or anything. Now we're heading back in now the next morning, and we came across a number of mountain sheep. These are not goats, these are sheep. They're young Rocky Mountain bighorns, if you will. That same group. Here's a couple of mountain goats. Now this is the way you're much more likely to see them than you are the picture of them right by the road licking minerals. They go up in some real interesting places. I think this is Edith Lake now as we're making our way down towards Moline Canyon and Moline Lake. Boy, it's choppy going through here off of Edith Lake. Going through, this is called Moline Canyon. Just boiling through there. There's a big piece of timber that's just laying there. Can't move anymore. I just sort of followed it on down the canyon as far as you could, farther as there was a path to go. And it had this waterfall at the end of the path. Moline Canyon. Down is a long way on any of these. But there you can see the stream still down in the rock. And we have come to the end of that and are now at Medicine Lake. We're still at Medicine Lake. It's a fairly long lake, and we're heading down a road that will take us to one of the most photographed spots in all of Canada. And that will be down at Moline Lake, and we will be there quite shortly. Now you can hike down along the side here, but it is pretty tough. So we're on a boat that's going to take us down to Moline Lake with its Spirit Island, and this is some of the stuff we see on the way down. It's quite a little boat ride. Real neat, and nothing in the way of danger or anything. It's just pretty peaks, snow covered and all as you make your way down. The day is a little on the dark side. You can see we got some pretty nice clouds, but we got a lot of darkness, and then the sun hits some of that bright snow and really makes it shine. We are down at Moline Lake now, but we haven't come to the spot that I mentioned, the most photographed spot. And that's a glacier coming right down to the lake. Now this lake is over to the east of the town of Jasper. And that is Little Spirit Island in Moline Lake. Actually, they call it an island, but much of the time it is a peninsula, not an island. This little connection right here. But later on, as the water comes down from the melting, this will get covered, and then this little thing will stand alone as a lake. And it will be called Spirit Island in Moline Lake. Now what I did here, I got over to a place so that you can't tell that is a little peninsula. But that is a mighty often photographed spot in Canada. A real beauty spot. I was really impressed with Moline Lake. And that's the boat that we were on. So we were well taken care of. The kind of weather we were having, you need a light jacket or a light sweater or something for, but other than that, all that snow is a little deceiving because it's not too bad as far as cold. Now we've gotten up to Jasper, and I'm taking this with a long lens. That mountain that you see is Mount Edith Cavell, this one back here, and it's named for a lady who was a nurse and in World War I and was executed by the Germans as a spy, and that beautiful mountain has been named for her. And this glacier, Angel Glacier, comes off the side of Mount Edith Cavell. This is another one of the little lakes that forms as a glacier is receding. This is called the Punch Bowl. I suppose because of these little bowls as the waterfall descends. There's another beautiful elk. And we're making our way over. As a matter of fact, we have made our way over to Mount Robson. This is the highest mountain in the Canadian Rockies. This is over west of Jasper. And what you're looking at is Indian paintbrush. And that's a wild rose. I photograph wildflowers whether I know what they are or not. I try and identify them later on. And here's another picture of Mount Robson. And then we're going to be on the Yellowhead Highway. And this waterfall, I photographed this right from the bus as we were making our way down towards Kamloops. Now we didn't take this ferry, but this ferry will take you across. And from our hotel, which was sort of up higher, or motel, this is the view of Kamloops at night. And the next morning. Now we're making our way on down towards what's called Hell's Canyon. This is the Fraser River, and this is the one that goes through Hell's Canyon. Now we're looking down on where we are supposed to eat lunch. It's across the river there. And this is quite a spot. There's only one real way across all of this foam. Incidentally, I see here, I have a picture of a salmon ladder. The salmon would go in here and progress up the river through that contraption. And this gondola that you're seeing is the way to cross over to those buildings so that you can eat. I can't remember whether that is a footbridge or a bridge for other reasons. And here's what the Fraser River, how it's churning through Hell's Canyon as you go across it on a gondola. And here is some more of that salmon ladder. The salmon would make their way up through here. And that is the formation of a whirlpool. I'm looking down now on the river as we're crossing it again. And making our way over to Victoria. And in Victoria, you have one of the neat parks up in this part of the world. This is the Queen Elizabeth Park. I'm saving the neatest one, I think, for last. But anyhow, this is the Queen Elizabeth Park in Vancouver. Now, Vancouver is not on Vancouver Island. Victoria is on Vancouver Island. But this is one beautiful garden, this Queen Elizabeth Park. Just everywhere you look, it's a beautiful sight. And then I had to have an explanation on this thing, but this is supposed to be an earthquake-proof building. That column is supposed to be able to stand forever. It goes way down, and then the building is sort of cabled to it and suspended, if you will, from that central column. I'm not sure that they've had an earthquake to test it out, but anyhow. Then they also have Stanley Park, and out there you can see some pretty good totem poles. Without going all the way up into Alaska, there's some pretty good stuff here. And then you go around different parts of Vancouver. This is what is known as the English section. And then Capulino Canyon. This is a suspension bridge, and some people just cannot bring themselves to go over it, but my wife and I have never had a problem with that. So we went over this suspension bridge right over the top of Capulino Canyon. As a matter of fact, that's my wife standing there looking back at wherever I am taking the picture. And there's where that is looking down the side of the bridge. Some more totems. And this is the Lions Gate Bridge. But the reason that I have the picture in, if you have never seen this tree, It's got a unique name. We have seen them over in Scotland and over in England as well, and it's called the monkey puzzle tree. I guess a monkey goes in it and he's puzzled how to get out of it. You can see some of the traffic of Vancouver on the Lions Gate Bridge too. But Vancouver has a number of spots that are really neat. And these will be some views of it. So this was a time before here in Ohio we got all the influx of Canada geese, and it was quite a sight to see that many Canada geese at one time. Now right here in Ohio we can see that many almost any day at a number of places. There's a marina down below looking out over Vancouver. Threatening clouds, but they did not rain on us. Little lighthouse. And we're making our way over to the University of British Columbia. And we did not do it on the tour, but when we first went up to Alaska, we caught the ship here in Vancouver and went under that bridge to go up on the inside passage. Here's timber on here, and this is sulfur over here on these barges. And this is called, not the Little Mermaid, this is called the Girl in the Wetsuit statue to sort of rival the Little Mermaid in Copenhagen. We're over in the University of British Columbia's Anthropology Museum now. Sort of strange things. These represent ravens. Artifacts and totems and so forth. And this one represents raven reaching into a clamshell to bring out first man, is their legend. So, and then here's the eagle. I had the word in my notes, eagles, but I couldn't remember where he was, but that's the eagle there. And this is the outside of that museum. And then turning a little ways is this totem, and this would be a ceremonial house. You'll see those on up in Alaska as well if you head up that way. And then turning about 90 degrees from that picture, looking out over the sand beach, that is the skyline of Vancouver. And this is Burrard's Inlet views up here. I'm up at a high point and taking just a few pictures here so that you can see some more of the land around Vancouver itself. And then here's Vancouver at night. Now we're making our way by ship over to Vancouver Island. And note that I reminded you that Victoria is on Vancouver Island. Vancouver, the city, is not. And you see all sort of little houses and forests coming down into the water, and it's just a great trip over to the island. A little lighthouse out there. I like islands and lighthouses and waterfalls, that type of thing. That keeps me happy. See the mountains in the background with the snow on them. Now those are not the Rockies. We're further west than the Rockies at this point. And here we're come to Victoria. It's a little hard to read because of a line there, but it says, "Welcome to Victoria." And here's the Parliament building here and the Canadian flag flying. Quite an impressive building. And then we have Queen Victoria, the Queen Victoria statue, with the Parliament in the background. And here's a bell tower. And here's an oldie. This is one of those old hotels. Oops, I'm sorry, I'm a little premature. This is the museum here. And I think I have a picture inside of the museum. This is what I was jumping the gun on. This is the Empress Hotel. This is another one of those expensive ones. You can probably have a high tea in here and keep a little bit of your money. But of course, I'm just talking about me. I'm an old camper, you know. And around, these are just different places around the city, gardens and lamppost decorations and the like. They really do a job on those hanging baskets off their lampposts. And then we went down to take a harbor tour, and you see float planes down as you go around, bridges and the like. Now, this is the old Robert Service house. That's where he was living when he wrote Spell of the Yukon. Or was it the cremation of Sam McGee? This is the old Yukon poet, Robert Service. Three-master schooner. Something's putting out to sea. Now these mountains here are over in Washington State in the United States. And this is the Juan de Fuca Straits through here. I sort of get carried away in marinas, especially if the boats are real colorful. Here's the Capitol at night, right from our hotel window, as a matter of fact. And this thing is called Carrickdarroch Castle. And there's Queen Victoria from a slightly different angle. And I wanted to even though this tour didn't go there, I wanted to show you a little bit of the inside passage over here while we're in extreme western Canada. These are some of the views as we're making our way up the inside passage. Now this is the inside passage leading you all the way up to Alaska, to southeast Alaska. You go under that bridge. I pointed out that bridge earlier. The inside passage over in this part of Canada is quite beautiful. Of course, it's very beautiful in when you get up into Alaska as well. But we won't go too far. As a matter of fact, we're almost as far as we're going to go right now. It's getting dark. Now I've taken you back to the east. I wanted just to show you one picture of buffalo at Elk Island National Park back out on the Great Plains, because that's an interesting place to visit. And I wanted to show you just a little of Edmonton, the Alberta capital. And that is their Parliament building. And here are people right out in front of the Capitol playing this game. I'm not sure if this is bowls or what it is, but you try to get you roll down one ball and then you try and get the others as close to it as possible without hitting it. Something of that nature. And this is the view out from the Capitol, and this is where they were playing the game out in here. Very impressive sight, very nice, very nice. And then in Waterton Lakes National Park, I pointed this out on the map when we started this. It's coupled with the U.S. Glacier National Park to make an international park on the border. My pictures will be in Canada with one exception, and I'll point that out. This is a beautiful waterfall. And then this is the Red Rock Canyon. And again, as I mentioned, you have come in off the prairies right into the mountains. So the prairies and the mountains are very close together. No foothills to speak of like we would have in the Appalachians, for instance. Just here's prairie, and there you are in the mountains. This is Waterton Lake. Now, those mountains down there are in Glacier National Park. I think the national border is somewhere right in here. And this is bear grass, or squaw grass, or basket grass. It's a member of the lily family. And they have extensive blooms of it out in the west. These are all Rocky Mountain bighorns. This is in an old gravel pit that I was passing and noticed them in there. Look at those beautiful curls on those horns. And this is Cameron Lake. Now, that formation down there is in Glacier National Park in Montana. The border is right in this slope here, right across that end. A little part of the lake is in the U.S. Cameron Lake. And then I mentioned I was leaving the Butchart Gardens, which are north of Victoria, out on Vancouver Island, to the very last. This was a worked out quarry, and that's the site of the gardens. And the lady the lady in the family decided, we aren't going to leave this old beat up quarry as our heritage. We're going to do something with it. So she started in, and she was the kingpin in making these gardens, the Butchart Gardens. They're sunken gardens, they're English rose gardens, they're Japanese gardens, they're Italian gardens. It is magnificent. This is part of the sunken gardens. I've never seen any other gardens quite that matched Butchart Gardens. Even some of those over in England don't quite come up to Butchart, although they're beautiful. This is all foxglove. And the formation of this fountain has about a 45-minute program where it's changing constantly during that time. And then it starts over again. In this one, you can actually go up those steps and go up into this area through there and get over here and keep on going. But this is the sunken garden again.